felt with the heart. And today we have with us three best-selling authors who have ably portrayed the feelings of the heart in their novels. I invite Mr. ANUJ TIWARY, SUMRIT, and SHIKHA KAUL. Please come. I would like to begin by introducing them. First we have ANUJ TIWARY. He was brought up in Bareilly and completed his schooling from Hindi Sanskrit medium school, where there were no English books. And today, he is the best-selling author of 3 books. These books are entitled Journey of Two Hearts, It Had to Be You, and It Is Not Right, But It's Okay. He is a speaker in many universities and platforms such as IIMs and TEDx. His stories are based on real-life incidents that he has recorded over the years. Newspaper Association of India has awarded him as Best Emerging Author in 2014 in the national hierarchy. Having a splendid presence on the social media, in 2016, he has also been listed under top 10 most influential Indian authors. Ironically, he has an engineering degree along with MBA in finance and human resources. He works in Mumbai as an IT professional, freelance marketing consultant, and as a social worker with various NGOs. But he writes about love. Welcome, Anuj. Next up we have SUMRIT SHAHI, whom I call as the good Amrit. He too is the author of 3 best-selling novels, Just Friends, A Lot Like Love, A Little Like Chocolate, and Never Kiss Your Best Friend. I wonder if it's based on real life.
I have the same question.
The kissing of the best friend, I mean. We will get to that a little later. He wrote his first novel, Just Friends, at the age of 70, which too I suspect is based on some real life experience. Anyway, in 2015, he was chosen by Hindustan Times in the list of top 30 under 30 young achievers in the country, terming him as a writing rock star of the young. He has 3 youth-based, he is truly a multi-talented individual. Welcome, Sumrit. A round of applause. And last but not the least, a lady on our panel, SHIKHA KAUL. She has carved a niche for herself in a span of less than 2 years since she entered the world of literature. Dedicated to her passion for writing and exploring fresh ideas in fiction, she has also penned 3 novels. Her first novel, entitled Hidden Husband, is a romance fiction inspired by a true story. Her second, DNA, Dad's Not Adopted, and her third, Riots of Love, that is Mohabbat Ke Dange. She too has won an award, the Best Author of the Year Award 2015 by Silas Online magazine. And her second novel, Dad's Not Adopted, is a crime thriller which keeps you hooked till the very end. And her third book, released in 2016, is a hard-hitted patriotic thriller which will soon be adapted into a mega motion picture. And apart from writing, she also does film scripts and documentary scripts. She too is immensely multi-talented. Welcome, Shikha. A round of applause for our panelists, please. Now to begin with, I'm sure our audience would like to know, what is the inspiration for each one of you to write about love? Anuj?
Yeah, sure. So, as you have already read about me, I belong to that family where, we had to speak Bhojan Mantra before having food. Imagine, that was the awkward situation for me in the childhood days. Uh, I am from a school where teachers were like celebrities. They rarely used to appear in the class, right? And we used to wear that shorts. That was Saraswati Vidya Mandir. So that was the culture that I always had, even in my family. So what happens in Indian society, probably the students are sitting here, so if your neighbor is an engineer or a doctor, anyhow you have to be. So looking on return on investment, my mom decided that I should go for engineering. Though I had probably interest in biology, the romantic scenes I have described in my books. Okay. Then I moved out of my town for engineering preparation, and then I was into engineering, and I reached at that point of time where everyone comes once in a while in life. Everybody is sitting over here. I fell in love with someone. That's very generic. So once you are in love, everything is very beautiful. Everything is like pinkish, very beautiful. But life is not always, happiness or good things. You have to look at the other side of it, So I had to face some personal challenges in my life, financial, personal, relational, right? So those were the days when I was kind of into, I won't say depression, but yeah, I was on medication for a few months. And then I thought, students who actually come out of town or family, they have few choices to do. Some pick beer bottles, some start smoking, and I couldn't do anything because I had my family pressure or whatever you say that. I had to give the status every day what I'm doing at college. So probably I took the pen and started writing. And that moment I moved to Mumbai, and the moment I completed the book, I thought that I'm an author now. I'm a best-selling author now. That was the truth. And then I started submitting my book to all the publishers, and they had the same opinion for the script, and they all rejected the book because I did not have any idea how to write a book. Then again it took 18 months, and then on mutual basis, book actually came out in 2012, September. So that was the journey, in short, if I say that. So I belong to a family when I had nothing in my hands, and now I have something, and the readers, the response I got from readers, so that actually idea worked out. There are very small marketing I could do. So those all things mutually took me to at this place.
Okay, Anuj, so writing was a process of catharsis for you. As Aristotle has said, most writing is cathartic. I have this query also in mind that today our reading population consists of youth. So is it that you all are writing because from your personal experience, or is also the fact that you want to cater to our youth population that is prompting you to write on love? I would like to put this question to Shikha.
Yeah, good afternoon. First, I would like to thank God for at least, being kind to us, because it's been very hot since morning and now it's so pleasant. And next, I would like to thank the audience and everybody here. So, you rightly mentioned, every author gets an inspiration from somewhere to write. It's the genre comes later. It's the inspiration to write that comes first. So for me, I would like to state from where that inspiration came from. I was never a writer. I'd never thought of writing a book all my life. I was doing my regular job. I worked for 12 years in one of the telecom companies, and I was heading the staffing division there. So it was only when my daughter was born, I was not even a reader. So it was when she was born, she would not sleep for hours, all nights, and I had nothing to do, and she's lying right next to me and I have to do something. So I picked up books and started reading. So when I started reading, I felt, of course I can also write. And yes, of course, my first book was Hidden Husband. That was inspired by a true story. So I would say it was a mixture of both the incidents, that my daughter was born, and plus one of my friends, she had been, into marriage which was not known to anybody. So she was married to a guy for almost 5 years, and they were living with their families, and their marriage was not known to anybody. So that was such a strange relationship. And the reason she shared, her experience with me, I'll tell you that as well. I dated my husband for 5 years before we got married, so it's been 13 years together now.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, thing is, I'm a Punjabi and he's a Kashmiri, and touch wood, we never had any problems. No, even though we belong to different cultures, everything went fine. And this friend of mine, she's also Punjabi, and she was in love with a Kashmiri. And she used to work with one of her clients. I used to visit very often. So one day she just called me for a coffee and said, "Shikha, let's go and let's have some coffee." I said, yeah. So then, the purpose of her taking me over, because she knew that I'm married to a Kashmiri and I'm Punjabi, so she wanted to know my experience. And I told her frankly, no, I've never faced any problems, touch wood. His family was absolutely okay and my family was absolutely fine. Then she started mentioning about her affair. That time she was dating this guy, that because of the cultural differences, they are not ready to accept. And she even showed me that, that ear piercing. There's an ateru that is supposed to be worn in Kashmiris. Thankfully, my in-laws, they never forced me, so I didn't have to get another ear piercing here. So, but she showed me that. They were still dating, and she showed me she's done that. She's like, "You haven't done it yet?" I said, "No. Why is it required? Even my mother-in-law doesn't wear a tail." So then she started narrating, and she started sharing her experiences. And then there was a gap of 9-10 months when my daughter was born. I got busy with her. I took an off from my job as well. And suddenly she gave me a call one day, and while she was asking me how is she daughter is so cute, and yeah, and how is he? Tell me, it's been 9 months. Are you guys still dating? And don't tell anybody, Shikha, we got married. I go, what? You got married? You didn't invite me? And I was like, nobody was invited, yaar. We only had 2 witnesses. We just went to the court, and even our parents don't know. I'm still living with my parents, and he's living with his parents in Jammu. I'm like, what? Yeah, don't tell me. And then she sent me a pics. That she had worn that shadi ka lehenga, and from there that idea clicked of hidden husband. And when we met, and for like 2-3 hours she narrated everything that happened, the sequences, very disturbing. It's very interesting also. I was like, yeah, it's a typical Bollywood masala concept. So likh le isko. And she was like, yes, someday I'll definitely write, when once we'll actually reveal our secret marriage to the world. So I told her, don't wait for that time. Let me just take the concept. Your identities won't be revealed, but I want the concept. So that's how that Hidden Husband was written. It was inspired by a true story, but definitely it's a work of fiction. I've made a lot of changes. So that was my inspiration for writing romance. Though my next 2 books, the next one was DNA, Dad's Not Adopted. That's a murder mystery. That is also kind of inspired by a true incident, but it's not purely a romance fiction. And third is Rights of Love. So that's how it started.
Very interesting, Shikha. It is said truth is stranger than fiction. So I guess my first 2 writers, panel members, have taken truth and turned it into fiction, and turned out strange fiction at that. And now for Sumrit. What is his source of inspiration? We'd like to know.
I think Tinder.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote my first book when I was 17, and so there are 2 ways as a writer or even as a reader. There are 2 types of writing. One is you write unfiltered, raw emotions which you're experiencing at that time and you put it to paper. The second is you write a reflective story which you've experienced, and out of experience you're writing about. In my case, it was the former. So it was basically, yeah, that. Love, yeah. At 17, what happens? Puppy love, infatuation. You go to tuitions and to study, obviously. And starts from there, and yeah, you meet people who you don't end up with, unfortunately, but yeah.
Okay, interesting. Now, being a crime fiction writer myself, I'm a little curious about the plot of love stories. And since you all have written 3 of them, I want to ask that once the boy and girl meet, then after that, what do you do for the next 200, 300 odd pages? I mean, where does the plot go after that? Anuj.
That's a tricky question. I think that's 18 plus question. What you can expect.
So cute, yeah. You still call it 18 plus.
I think you can elaborate upon it, don't
Yeah,
worry.
so whatever I have written so far is kind of, because I believe there's nothing called fiction.
Okay,
Everything, whatever we categorize as a fiction,
okay.
is always inspired from true events or stories, right? So till now, with 3 books so far, whatever I have written, those are incidents which are inspired from true stories or incidents. So what happens when once girl and a boy meet after that? So usually as I said, life is not always about good things, in personally, professionally, or in any way. So what challenges you face, right? A good story or good ending is all about when you face a challenge and you come out of that situation. It can be anything. It's just not about love, right? You go to somewhere, you work hard, you are not getting success, and you are still working hard. And then until you are not getting success, you just working hard. And one day the day comes, the day comes when you realize whatever you have done so far, right? So it's like successful. Your life is worth spending the time you have spent for something, doing
Okay.
hardships. So my always concern, whatever, even if in future if I write purely fiction, though doesn't exist, that pure fiction doesn't exist anymore. Uh, so my always concern is to motivate people or inspire people from your words, right? If someone is reading my book or someone is reading someone else's book,
So you want to motivate them to fall in love.
no, I mean everybody
Don't
wants to
lie,
love.
you won't see it.
No, everyone does that, but I mean that's not about that I will say you that you should fall in love. Of course, you also have a masala story, I believe so. Probably you will not discuss here, but you have. Of course, everyone has. Come on, accept that. So that's a very natural thing that happens to life. Everybody falls in love. Things happen, things don't happen sometimes. But everyone does that, right? But how you come out of that situation, sometimes you turn up into positive motivation, sometimes you end up with a horrible nightmare, kind of. So it depends upon you how you take things towards your destination or destiny.
Also, adding very quickly to it, I mean, everyone sitting here in the audience, standing at the back, love itself is such an emotion that it's got such a myriad type of sub-emotions attached to it, and so many experiences you can get out of that one single emotion, that actually sometimes containing a book to that or 250 page becomes a difficulty, because meeting someone is your first plot point, and after that it's a journey. Your characters, see, that's one thing about writing. You're God. You create a universe, you create characters.
Right.
And you can take them in any situation. You could have a love story right here at the Lit Fest between an author,
Very
and you're just
true.
smiling already, and a pretty girl sitting in the audience. And you could just go on from there completely. You're in Dehradun, it could be a 2-day romance, you've got enough plot points to cover that.
Okay, great.
One
Don't-
more thing,
yeah,
one more thing
sorry.
I would like to add, just not giving the definition to love, but I believe love is to be lived and understood. It's not domination, right? We see very modern stories, or we
Is
read
that what
modern
you've written on
stories.
your Tinder profile?
No.
Tinder is big. with
So
everybody.
it's not about domination. It's a domination that is not love. It's a compromise that the other person is doing with you, and you should come out of that illusion as soon as possible.
Okay, now since all of you profess to be sort of love gurus,
Not at all, yeah.
I
I'm
would
learning.
like you to tell the audience, how would you distinguish, if you can, between, or are they mutually exclusive, when we talk about attraction, when we talk about affection, when we talk about if infatuation, when we talk about lust, and when we talk about love. Are all these emotions part and parcel of love, or are they mutually exclusive?
Yeah, I think one with the most experience should answer this first. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the only permanent thing is love. Rest all is temporary. You can call it. See, not always, but yes, if you talk of lust, it may not it may not be permanent if the love component is not there. Um, you know, love can survive without lust, but the vice versa is not true. And yes, love has many forms. I mean, yes, we are talking of romance. For me, I think romance is not always that lovey-dovey feeling. Romance can be a passion also. It's how you look at it. I mean, if we are really talking of that male-female bonding, yes, that has to be there. That completes you. I mean, that has to be a part of every human. And I'll give you an example. Okay, I don't know even if it is related to what we're talking about. I was thinking about it last night. Uh, I was like in fourth standard, and we had done this play, William Shakespeare's Midsummer's Night Dream in school, and I was one of the fairies. So we was supposed to roam around this Queen Titania. She was like the pretty, gorgeous Queen Titania, and the 4 or 5 little fairies singing around her, you know. And this most gorgeous Queen Titania falls in love with a donkey because of that, that effect on her. So, that always stayed in me, that love is blind. And in my book, Hidden Husband, I've mentioned love is not just blind, it is deaf too, because you stop listening to your parents also. So it happens with everybody. And well, if you talk of, yes, distinguishing between affection, infatuation, when people ask me how many times you've fallen in love, and like, fallen in love is a very difficult question. You know, I can say I may have fallen in love like 5, 6 times, but when I go back and and think of all those cases, I think those were just infatuation, because I don't think of them now. I don't even remember their faces, and I don't even care where they are. So that must have been just an infatuation, a temporary phase.
You've never secretly stalked them online?
No. See,
Of course
don't
she
ask
did.
those personal questions. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know where they are, and I really don't even remember their faces also, couple of them. See, I've been with my
I
husband for
got an
13...
answer out of you.
Shut up. I've been with my husband for 13 years, okay? I'll
Oh
disclose
yeah,
my...
sorry, I forgot you're married. Yeah. No, love is there.
Oh, love is there. Listen to me, no?
Sorry.
So what I'm saying is, whatever those infatuations, those are like 13 years ago.
Before marriage,
Before marriage, of course. So for me, love has been love since I met my husband. And I was just sharing that incident with him, how actually we proposed. It was love at first sight for us. And our friends would always, keep pushing us. And there was that ego that, no, I'm not going to propose to him. No. And the same was with him as well. So for like 15 years, we were actually fighting with each other, very politely, that you will be the first to say it. So this one day we were like sitting together, all our friends, and we thought of playing a game where you have to, write something on the back of the person, and he has to guess. So there were 2 teams divided. So we were in separate teams. So, and intentionally, he was sent when it was my turn to write. So, I wrote ILU. And he was quiet because...
How smart she is.
And he didn't answer. He said, I couldn't get it. And everybody kept pushing, you have to tell, because it was so obvious what I'd mentioned. But later I asked him, why didn't you say? So because you wanted to say I love you. I said, see, you're the first one who said it. so that's love.
Okay, very interesting take on it. And before I take the views of Sumrit and Anuj, I'm suddenly reminded of this movie. It was, I think, Ae Dil Hai Mushkil, which was this Ranveer and Anushka and all. where it said, that love is all about pain, gut-wrenching pain. And it is portrayed in the movie with a, flower pot kept on the heart and, the pain caused by it, the physical pain, that is love. So, in addition to talking about infatuation and lust and affection and all those things, I would also like to add another dimension. That is love all about gut-wrenching pain? Sumrit, what do you say?
Wow, yeah, you're like putting me on the spot now. Yeah, I mean, love has its own share of complications for sure. And it's not just, yes, because it's such a strong emotion, right? And any strong emotion, be it anger, be it lust for that matter, anything for that matter, has its own idea of difficulty, which love also does. And I tell you, that happens because it's such a strong feeling. It's something that leads you to suspend logic sometimes and purely think from your heart, that it leads to that pain. And that's one aspect of love. But that's also what makes the journey beautiful, right? You always, there's this line that I believe in with all my relationships. Don't be sad for it ended, be happy for it happened. And that's what, love, I see some people nodding in the audience, yes. Heartbreak love. Yeah. So that's what love is about eventually.
Okay,
yes.
so gut-wrenching pain has been added to it. Now, I remember another aspect about love. A lot of scientific studies have shown that love is addictive as cocaine. Because when you're in love, the hormone serotonin is released.
I don't know, yeah, I've never done coke.
Don't lie, Sumrit.
Okay, even if you haven't done coke, the object of your affection, do you get addicted to the object of your affection? If you don't hear that person's voice for X number of hours, you go crazy. It's like a fix. You need the fix of hearing that person's voice,
Anuj,
of being
please
with
tell
that
us.
person. So I've added one more dimension. Anuj, would you like to elaborate on it? What do you think?
So there was days in my college when my average talking time to my girl was probably 3.5 hours or 4 hours per day.
Okay.
Now the time has come, probably in 6 months or 5 months or a year, I talk to my friends, and it has been reduced to 5-6 minutes per day. Now everything happens over email now. So everything has certain time at certain age, right? When you are at college, you have nothing to do. You go to class, you come back, and you need someone to discuss, you need someone to share. So that time you do. But being a mature person, once you grow, so that moment you realize that there are other things to do, right? Even if I love someone now, or I'm married to someone, of course I won't talk to her 3 hours or 4 hours per day. Of course, that doesn't make any sense, right?
I don't know, sorry I'm
Okay.
cutting you in, but I completely disagree to this. I don't think love comes with age. I've seen the most beautiful love stories happen at when people are in their late 50s and 60s, and these people, when you look at them talking, their conversations are something that I don't think we as a generation will never achieve. So I really don't think that love doesn't go through biological age. Love as an emotion stays
No,
completely.
Yeah.
that's very true. That's very true. But once you have responsibilities, right? Still, if you are at office, you cannot talk to someone for 3 hours or 4 hours. That's very true. So once you grow, you realize that, I mean, if I talk to someone just for 5 minutes, I think probably that's very enough and very much sufficient for me probably for a week.
That also depends what your 3 hours of
See,
conversation
then,
was.
I believe if that is the phase one is going through where you're actually totally occupied in your work and you're not thinking about somebody, then that means that, I'm not saying that you're out of love, but you're not into that passionate love. Now I'm married to my husband and, I love him a lot, but I don't think of him all the time the way I used to at one point in time. Now he's giving me those strange looks and I don't like it. So my point is, of course, as you're saying, with time, you get those responsibilities. I think more of my daughter now, if you don't mind. So I have to think of, her career, her schooling. She's now 3 years old and she keeps me so much occupied that, by the end of the day, even if my husband is there, why don't you feed me this? Please, para yaar, le lo na. It's like this. And when she's asking, yeah, baby, I'm coming. So your priorities change with time. That's it.
Okay, so we have heard two panel members who are saying love is sort of conditional. Conditional to
It's not conditional.
practicality.
I'm not defining it. It's conditional. It's of course very unconditional. Only the thing is, once we grow, many things change, and you have to follow. I won't say principle, but you have certain responsibilities, as I said. So Once you grow, things change, certain priorities change, and that moment you have to define. Personally, individually, you have to define how to manage, right?
Okay, so it becomes
that's all
a
I want to say.
practical relationship without the passion,
Practical
without
relationship,
gut-wrenching.
yeah, yeah.
Still disagree, yaar. I mean, probably I'm just too romantic at thought, but you cannot, like, love does not change. What you're talking about is that love turns into comfort, but that does not take away the love from the comfort.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly
Even
what-
I have to agree with Sumrit, because I feel that if you're in love, then it stays that gut-wrenching
Yeah, if it's not
feeling.
forever,
You
it's
have to
not
have
love,
it
no?
Yeah,
forever.
but in terms of talking or spending time with someone, it's not very much required. I'm just calling you all the time and just
What
taking
is
care
very
of you.
much required. It's not a
But
requirement. It's
Yeah,
just
like-
want
if
to
I'm
do it.
yeah, but if I'm caring about someone, that means I know someone is good, someone is fine, someone is doing good.
Okay.
It's not always. Of course, एक time के बाद उसको भी परेशान होगा यार, वो भी बोलेगा मुझे all the time why you call me, right? Love is not all anyway related. It's not proportional to the time you spend with the person. Sometimes it takes years,
Completely agreed, yeah.
sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes months, sometimes just a moment you realize that the right person. But as I said that love is to be lived and understood. If you understand each other very well, there is no requirement of knowing to more and more, right? And in India, probably live-in relationships are not allowed. If we define that, it's not allowed in India. But I think that's the best way to know someone, right?
Okay.
Because when you see a gift, wrapped gift, you don't know what is inside, right? A girl comes to meet you. I'm not turning towards other way, but if someone comes to meet
That
you,
analogy got like 25,000 visuals in my head, so I was like, let's just stop at that right now.
So if someone comes to you and meets, so you can only predict, you can see her, right?
Okay,
but
fine,
you don't
fine.
know the behavior, you know,
What
her,
was the
her
question
culture,
again? I lost
behavior.
my chain of thought, to be honest. I think we just
Okay,
deviated
I think
completely.
what we can come to is a middle ground. Recently, Rishi Kapoor released his autobiography, and over there they talk about their relationship. Rishi Kapoor and Neetu Singh, they both of them talk about their relationship. And Neetu Singh says that it's only in the last 15 years that she's really fallen in love with her husband. Before that, it was okay. I mean, they were getting by and there were ups and downs. But she says only the real love and what she defined as love, and now I would like your take on it also. She says that love, what I feel, she says love is not that, surge of passion. That is not love. That is just hormones. Love, she said, is when you love the other person like a mother. That means you overlook everything. The other person may do whatever, but you overlook it. Everything and anything you overlook, and you accept the person for what the person is, flaws included. That is love. That is what she defines as love. What do our panel members think? Is that love?
Eventually, yes, you reach to that stage, and that's the whole idea of love and the journey that you're taking in life, right? It obviously, and to be honest, I think love as a definition is very subjective. Everyone would have a very different definition of what love is to someone, and as you rightly pointed out, I think the only pure pious aspect of love is a mother and a child's love, unless you read Freud, of course, but that's a separate story completely. But because that's unconditional, and to reach that stage is obviously reaching your Maslow's hierarchy of the fifth self-actualization stage, where you said I've given up on all flaws and yes, I love this person completely.
What you are mentioning, that when Neetu Singh says that in the last 15 years, I believe that I love my husband more. It's because those are the years when she would have spent more time with her husband, when your children are grown up. There always comes a phase when things occupy more, the things beyond your love. It's not love, it's the show of love, it's the presentation of love, it's the act of love. Then there are phases where, many other things take priority. As I said, it could be my, in-laws, it could be my parents also, it could be my career. See, if I was here, I'm here tomorrow, if I'm here tomorrow, that's a weekend for me. My first preference is always to be with my family, to be with my husband, to be with my daughter. But career takes the preference sometimes.
It's a good thing. Don't look at us. It's an amazing thing.
Okay, now coming to the nuts and bolts of books and getting published. It is common knowledge, and I'm sure there are budding authors in the audience, they would be interested in this question. It is quite difficult to get published by reputed publishing houses in India. So we would like to know that what has been the journey like to get published with reputed publishing houses for all our authors here. Sumrit.
It was as boring and as cliched as any other struggling author's journey is there. I mean, I published my first book, came out at 17, completely unaware of how the publishing world works. I honestly pitched it only to small-time publishers and it got selected. This was the time when Indian fiction was also booming, so it's also the time and place that mattered. Book did really well, eventually got approached by a good publisher, journey ended. Yes, obviously, and what happens is eventually there are a lot of people who tell you, your book's not good enough. There's a huge debate on marketing a book that's involved now. There's an author profile that's part of the whole game now. So all of these things have come into place and a lot of people are self-publishing as well now. Self-publishing as an option did not exist at the time when I got published. Like it wasn't popularly out there, and we have a panelist here who self-published and her books are doing really well. So that is also one option that a lot of people are talking about now. So yeah, it's pretty much that simple a journey. Yeah.
Anuj, you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would like to elaborate more. So once my book came out in 2012 September, and the second book when came, so see, for publishers, it's like there are so many authors, right? And it's like a family, and publisher is a grandfather. And everybody in a family is like an author, and he puts the same effort for everybody, right? There are so many authors every year. But nowadays the thing is how much effort individual puts on something, on some books, right, individually. So if you put that, he or she becomes the favorite of him, right? It's very much true. We can relate it. So when my book came in 2012, the first book, Journey of Two Hearts, I was in Andheri those days, if you are aware from Mumbai. So I was in Andheri those days, and I used to travel with one of my friends from Andheri to Churchgate, where actually the terrorist attack happened. So there we have huge bookstores. They only keep pirated and second-hand books. So I used to travel carrying 100 books, 120 books in my bag, and I started giving to the booksellers, giving them 70% discount, 80% discount. But because my intention was not to get the monetary benefits, but my intention was to get the visibility, right? So I started giving them, and I believe I sold more than approx 7,000 to 8,000 books in 2 months. Though I haven't recovered the money yet, but
That's another story.
Yeah,
how much money we can make?
Yeah, so it was a pseudo marketing kind of, and it worked out. Book was bestseller on Flipkart. Amazon was not there those days. Book was bestseller on Flipkart, Home Shop, Infibeam, and that idea worked out. So, I mean, nowadays marketing is very much responsible for the success of a book. And if you want to survive for a long time, you should have a good story. And if you have a combination of both, success is always yours. Never worry about, individual effort. Nobody was there. Publisher was doing efforts from their side, but I had to do what? If I do something more, then I am out of that league, right? And that idea actually worked out.
Okay, very valid point that marketing is not everything, but you should have a good story and it should be well written.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to that, what has happened, at least with a lot of young people who started writing books now, writing books has become this new cool thing that, it's this easy way to get famous in your own little way possible. What people don't realize is that nothing can substitute a good story in the end. Obviously, there are additional factors such as marketing or creating your own author profile and the way you pitch a book, but a good story at the end. And most importantly, don't write for what you think the audience wants to read.
Very true.
Write for yourself, because the more, like, an honest book shows. I can tell you a clear example, my own example. Between the 3 books that I've written, the first one did really well, written by the heart, from the heart completely, no intentions whatsoever. Second book obviously was a commercial effort. 3 months the book was out, and it was the most banal, stupid love story that anyone could have ever read. And I seriously question the odd 50,000 people who've read it. And with the third book, that's what I realized, that you can only sell a good book when it has a good story. Initially, you'll get your sales figures, you'll get your social media presence, all of that would be in place, but eventually a good book stands out and that stays.
Okay, very interesting, and he's being really humble about his second book. Really nice to hear that. Very candid confession, rather.
That's true, that is true.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very true. I mean,
Yeah,
I would like to
yeah,
add
I
more.
think-
Just I'll take 2 minutes.
Yes.
So many times it
You
happens.
have one.
No,
No, no,
Just kidding.
many
I'm
time
kidding,
it
I'm
many
kidding.
time it happens on social media or over mail or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. So people, I mean, whoever is writing a book or even haven't completed it yet, he or she says, I want to be like someone like you or someone like someone else.
yeah, Chetan Bhagat.
But that doesn't work out in that way. You
We
have
don't take certain names over here.
yeah, but you have to be you know you.
Telecom company, I often used to travel to Mumbai and visit Reliance IT Park that belongs to Mr. Mukesh Ambani. And that IT park is huge. So many companies and even all their this Reliance vendors, they also have their offices there. They're supposed to be there. So the thing is, you keep on walking and everything there belongs to Mr. Ambani. And one day I was like walking from one building to the other, and I was thinking, what if somebody like me just comes in and says, that I'm the daughter of, the owner of this IT park. And that's how this idea came. And DNA is, touch wood, I'm hoping it will soon be a motion picture. I'm talking to a producer. I'm meeting him next week. So this is how it came. See, my plots, all my plots, I'm ready with my next 8 plots. I've already finished writing my 4th manuscript. And the next is a 7-series romantic series. The 7-book series. I call it a haptology. I hope it's the first haptology. So that's what I'm writing, all romance fiction. So my stories always, they're always written in non-linear fashion. So it's all chapters are, you pick up any of my 3 books, it's full of twists and turns throughout the book. And every ending is a surprise. So I just cannot write the flat stories where, you read the first 2-3 pages and you know what's the end, the climax is going to be.
Really interesting to know that they are not linear plots. What about you, Sumrit? How do you craft your novels?
I've actually tried the 2 school of thoughts that are available. One is that you basically chart out your characters. Every character has this thing called FLBW. You can Google it. There's a character sheet that you get. And in that character sheet, you actually analyze your character from what the character likes to dislikes to what the character's family is. That is one way of going about it. You craft your characters completely and then you put them into situations and let the story flow. The book that I've been working on right now, in that book, I crafted the plot points first. As in, there'll be these characters, there's a trope that I followed, and in this trope, A to Z things will happen. And surprisingly, the latter worked better for me, and that's just a personal opinion. Crafting your plot points really worked better because when you get down to write a chapter, it's easier that way. But writing, and it also depends on the type of book that you're writing, because if you're writing a story that deals with relationships or human emotions, a character's journey works, because my books have predominantly dealt with coming of age stories, so working on a character makes more sense in that situation. But when you write a thriller or when you write a plot driven book, obviously jotting down your plot points will make more sense and relevant. So these are the 2 school of thoughts. You can try both of them, and if you're doing the character thing, it's really helped me personally. Go to Google and download a character chart. It gives you the answers to what your character should be, and that really helps you, because once you know what your character chart is, it'll be very easy for you to put that character in a situation and make him react or her react to that situation accordingly.
Okay, this is really very interesting. Now, being a crime fiction writer myself, what I do is I very clinically decide on a plot, and then I decide where the plot is going to escalate and where is the climax, where is the mini climax, all those things, and then I decide the characters, and then I do the chapterization, and the first thing I write is the end, and I become so happy after writing the end after the last chapter. So that's how I go about it. And I thought that's a very clinical way to do it, because writers are supposed to be people who get inspired by the muse and then they put on their thinking caps and they just flow. And I thought maybe romance writers write like that. Me being a cut and dried crime fiction writer writes in a clinical way, but here we have romance
No, but
writers.
that, sorry I'm cutting you, that
Okay.
also happens. There have been times when I've been clubbing and you're in the smoking lounge and not promoting anything morally unethical here, but, and you get this, you overhear a conversation of somebody or you see a couple fighting because that's where all the fights happen. And you suddenly get an idea. You've got your WhatsApp over there, you suddenly type in words. I've written it on tissue papers. I was giving my physical education exam in grade 12th, I remember, one of those internal exams. I wrote that exam for 1 hour, the rest 1.5 hours I was sitting and writing the next chapter because it just struck me over there. So writing happens to you anywhere, that's the beauty of it.
Okay, okay, really great. But mostly what I get is a sense of it being crafted very logically. Very logically you decide on the characters and the plots and make certain things happen to the characters. That's how all of you are writing. Now I am reminded I did an interview with Ruskin Bond some years ago, and I asked Ruskin Bond that how does he go about writing, and he showed me his writing desk, and would you believe it, he's got a tiny writing desk, and his room is a very tiny, it's not really a room, I would call it 1/4 of a normal room, and he has got a bunk bed, sort of one single bed, and he sleeps on it, and there is a window, and he sits with his back towards the window, and he says, I just get up and I start writing. And I said, you don't create a plot or anything? He says, no, I just start writing in longhand. So I found that, okay, that's really wonderful. I mean, I can't do that. I need to have a structure. So I don't know where these two styles of writing are, whether they come together, or maybe he's the real writer. I don't know. What do you say?
Listen, I'm not commenting anything on Ruskin Bond over here.
Okay, what do you have to say?
He obviously is God. I've grown up reading Ruskin Bond.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah, Ruskin Bond is like writing puberty.
Yeah, I believe everyone has is a style. So that depends on the person who is writing a book or anything if you're writing. So many times it happens, especially with me, when I'm taking shower. If something comes out in your mind, I
Yes, we all know the best ideas come in the
no,
bathroom.
it happens. It happens very
No,
much.
that's true.
That's
Right,
that's
yeah.
very much practical, and I have given the the positive side of it. So if you are taking a bath and something comes up in your mind, and next moment you feel like it's gone.
So you got a writing board in your washroom?
No. So what was I started doing? It happens with everyone, right? Whoever is writing. So what you have to keep you don't even remember where your hand is going or whatever you're doing. But what
I have
comes?
no idea
No.
what is wrong
No,
with
no,
you.
no.
Like, what is
But
this
what
is wrong with
physical
you? What are you
anatomy
saying?
discussion?
No. So what your only
The
concern
public
is?
audience, yeah. What do
It's,
you
it's
mean?
okay, they understand. So only concern
Little
is
impressionable kids, what they understand.
they are always
Okay, I'm
taking.
kidding.
Yeah. So the only concern that I have once I am out of that washroom, I should have something to write at least. Otherwise, it's gone. And the moment you won't realize the people who are writing or who are inspired. So it's very much true that if it's gone, it never comes back. It never comes back. Like if it's gone, it's gone. So,
So what do
you
you
have to
keep next to
preserve
your shower?
You
What
have
do
to.
what do you
That's
keep?
the $1 million
No, no,
What do
question.
you keep?
We are diverting that, so that you have to preserve your
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah.
somewhere. So if you see that Google Doc in my phone or anywhere, the tissue paper he has said, so you have to write
That still
somewhere.
doesn't answer our
Anuj,
question.
we all had a very graphic image of you in the washroom and bathing and
No,
everything.
no, no. I was
But
just
the
giving an
question-
example. It happens with
The
everyone.
question
It's
is,
very
what
much
do
true.
you
We have to
keep
accept
next
that.
to your shower? Where do you write it down?
Where do you write it down?
No, I don't write in the washroom, of course.
So
but
what do you do
as I
then?
said,
But you said you lose it otherwise. You lose the idea
it
otherwise.
used to happen. So what you have to do? That's why I said you have to
You
keep.
self-control now.
You have to keep in your mind so that once you get time, you have to write it.
Okay.
So that's very much true. I mean, there is no point like.
Okay, on
yeah.
a serious note, that's a very valid point because we all get brilliant ideas. I think we get brilliant ideas not only in the washroom but also when you're just about to fall asleep. That is the time you get brilliant ideas. You're about, there is a zone when you're not asleep and you're not awake. You're in that middle zone and you get brilliant ideas at that point of time. So you should always keep a notepad next to your bed, your bedside table, and that's where you get your ideas and you note it down. And even on waking up, you are again in that zone.
Yeah, I get most of my ideas when I'm, about to go to bed, and I have my mobile phone, and my WhatsApp with my husband is actually my notepad. So, the thing is, initially when I used to send him just, random messages, like, "Kya bhej rahi hai yaar? keep ignoring. Yeah, it was there in my mind, so I'll just copy it later. So now when I'm genuinely sending some message to him, and that is ignored, it's like I don't even know when you're actually sending your idea or a message to me.
That's funny. Sumrit, you want to say something about this? Your ideas?
My ideas flow all the time, yeah, washroom or no washroom. But basically, I think one thing that nobody's talked about and everyone would unanimously agree is that there's this romanticized idea of, oh, there'll be this time when, we'll get struck by some nice imagination and we'll start writing. Chuck that. Writing is also a discipline. A lot of people ignore this completely.
Very much true.
There are times where even if you don't have any idea, just sit at that goddamn desk or wherever you're comfortable and sit and write. All writers that I know of and some very popular contemporary writers do religious writing for a stipulated time during the day or in the night, but they have this fixed routine. And that's very important. Writing's got this whole romanticized idea, right? That, oh, you can
Absolutely,
write anywhere that you want, but it is also a discipline which we should not ignore.
I would like to add more. Like, a book is just a combination of 60,000 or probably 70,000 words. And you can imagine if just 100 words, if you write in a day, so probably very soon you can complete a book.
Yes.
That's so
And
true,
it's not too much, 100 words, right? It's not that much. You can write it. So it's like, but when you're writing, you have to be very, very disciplined when you're writing it. Right? You're collaborating everything, whatever was happening for you in your mind from the early morning to the evening or in the past.
So basically, don't open Facebook alongside. That's like the biggest distraction when you're writing.
Yeah.
No social media, no Google alongside when you're on your on your laptop, because that is where
No,
all the
this
problems
is an
start.
absolutely valid point, and like I told you, Ruskin Bond in the morning, he would just get up, sit on his desk, and sit down and start writing, and he would write one page, and he would be very happy. And I had interviewed Kushwant Singh also, and Kushwant Singh told me, contrary to his image, he used to get up at 4 in the morning every day without fail. He used to make his cup of tea, put on Shabad Kirtan, and after the Shabad Kirtan, he would sit down to write. Without fail, from 4 in the morning till 1 o'clock, he says, I do nothing except write. So it is a very disciplined, and it requires really hard work. It is hard work.
It's a
And-
personal experience also. I mean, if you write anything in the morning and if you write same thing in the evening, probably you'll see a huge difference whatever you have written, because your mind is very much fresh. And
Absolutely.
whatever the thoughts which are coming, those are not inspired from anywhere you are reading something or something like that. Whatever is coming is very much raw and very much true.
Okay, now coming back to our topic, which is about love and the fact that you're writing about love, how many variations of the love story can you write? I am assuming that all of you want to focus on the genre of love. So, I mean, how many variations of the love story can there be possible? Sumrit.
They say there are only 7 plots in this world eventually, right? So, but no, see, the thing is that with love itself as an emotion, there's so many different types of love stories that you can portray. There could be a story of unrequited love. There could be a story of someone discovering love after getting into, say, an association such as marriage. There could be a story of the first infatuation or the first time you fall in love. Love itself has so many different situations and so many different, places to be at. And there's so many stories that can come out of it. So I don't think there would be ever a dearth of love stories as per se. And also when you talk of love, we've constantly been talking about romantic love. There is love that's beyond romance. There is love, as you pointed out, between a mother and a daughter. There's sibling love. There's love, between a human and an animal. There's such beautiful books written about dogs and humans. I mean, they make me cry, yeah? They do.
Any
laugh
words on
about it.
this?
I'm very much agree to Sumrit, whatever he has said. So
Thank you.
it's like it's not that only a kiss or something else should happen in a book in terms of romance. There are many
That was very
ways.
low blow, huh?
There,
No,
there,
no, this one of my books has a title. The title
Never Kiss Your Best Friend.
Exactly, that was very low blow.
no, that's not about the book. This is title, and I always said that you write much better than other authors. I'm just telling that. So love has so many shades. We have seen the 50 Shades as well. Uh, so I mean, there are many ways to describe love, right?
Anuj constantly runs
what are
away
you on today?
on a tangent.
No, so
What are you on?
there are many ways to describe love.
Okay.
And
Point taken. Point
yeah,
taken. Seriously.
so it's
Yes.
not about specific something that I will write this, then this will make someone happy or me happy or inspire or motivate others. There are many ways to write, and you can describe anything which is, which you feel good. That is love. Love, I mean, if I just posted yesterday on Facebook, it's a foundation of problems. Love is a foundation of problems, but sometimes it's a solution too.
Okay.
Right? When you're in love, you feel
Damn
that
deep, yeah.
you sometimes you feel that it's not working out, but later you feel that it's actually worked out for you.
Okay, now all of you dabble in a variety of fields apart from writing romantic fiction. What is the reason for it? Is it because it doesn't pay as well, or is it because you're not creatively satisfied by being only in one field? What is the actual reason for this?
Very honestly, without sugarcoating it, even if you look at the top authors in the country, for a very long time they had day jobs. Writing in this country is not, if you compare it to the West or other civilizations, writing monetarily cannot be your profession unless you've actually got a rich daddy to support you. So you do other things obviously, and you try your best to creatively satisfy yourself in those other things. Like I am doing script writing, and I'm writing a couple of TV shows right now. That's the best that I can do in order to continue dwelling in. And that's the thing with writing. Yeah, writing a novel essentially is such a passionate thing. I can't personally equate it with money, but then money is also important eventually,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But it's not taking away from the fact that royalties or the term of monetary compensation from writing just books alone in this country is a short guarantee. It's not. Let's be honest about it, it's not. You obviously have to get bread, butter, some beer on the table eventually.
Anuj, what do you say?
You won't get any beer on
No,
the
no. So the whole scenario is like very tricky. It's like I feel personally that don't write to get the royalties. Don't write for money. First, follow your heart, follow your soul's advice, what you want to say. Write it down. If people love that, they will of course buy the book, and later of course it will come to in terms of monetary benefits that you will get.
Okay.
Right? But while writing a book, it's not about that I will write this, then this will be sold, or
Okay.
this is the trend that we are following. No, it won't work in any way. I can bet on that. But if you're following yourself and if you're expressing yourself in terms of thoughts or anything that people may love, then of course you will get the monetary benefits of course. कौन काम free में कौन करता है यार?
Absolutely. I'm sure now our audience members would like to ask some questions. If any audience member would like to ask a question, we can pass on the mic to them. Anybody?
A very good evening to all of you. My name is Ashish. I'm a localite of Dehradun. If writing books is so difficult, it's my personal question.
You'd love to do it and you'll manage everything alongside. And you get the most creative relationships because you're an eccentric person, that also because you're a writer. So that works. It also helps in like writing other stuff.
And I think it makes your life very interesting.
It does, it does.
And writing, sometimes when you're in the flow, it's like meditation. It puts you into the zone and you're like meditating at that time. So that's what is my take on it.
Yeah, and anyway, in terms of in terms of time you have to manage. Of course, you have to compromise with certain things, right? Everyone has 24 hours. So if I'm spending my all the time in something else while writing, then it doesn't gonna work that.
Yeah, for
So
me, I think
you
writing
have
is a
to
stress buster.
you have to compromise
So,
with
I
certain
mean-
things. There were times my friends used to call me for movie or for some events. I stopped going. There were times when for probably 8 months I did not go for a movie because I was writing. But the time you start writing and things work out, you start managing yourself. And that's the time you realize that it's a beautiful thing to compromise with something else rather than writing. No, it doesn't happen in that way. You have to concentrate on writing. You have to compromise with certain things. And it will be, of course, it will be always good for you.
I again don't agree, but okay. I'm not writing.
No,
that
but
way.
it works in my way.
Yeah, no. I think everyone's got a
Everyone has
different
its own
approach
Absolutely.
to it. Perfect.
Any other question?
SUMRIT sir, I'm a great fan of yours.
Thank you. You're very pretty.
Thank you. Sir, actually I wanted to ask, how do you write in such a realistic way? Even if I go through your Facebook
Look at me,
post-
I'm such a voyeur. Can't you see I've extracted his bathroom stories already? I know about a 13 years of marriage in like the last 1 hour that I've met.
I know his stories when he was probably 17. He was in college.
I was in...
So I know he's very humorous in terms of writing and...
Sir, do you have a degree in literature or like that? Because even your Facebook post, your Instagram captions, I just love them. I usually stalk you there.
Oh sweet, at least someone's stalking me. I'm shy now, wait, give me 2 seconds. I'm kidding. Yeah. No, yeah, contrary to popular belief, I still haven't finished college. I'm flying to Bombay tomorrow and I have to write a dissertation. And I have my backlogs to finish, so I don't have any degree right now. I'm a 12th pass out, technically. But that's a separate story. I did study literature in college. Everyone's got a different style of writing. Some people completely imagine, and that's beautiful. Some people actually take fiction in the term of fiction. Some people get inspired by people around them. Some voyeuristically pick up emotions and, ideologies from other people. That's my style. That's why I think it turns out to be realistic. Also, I think what works in my favor is I write about people and I write about things that I'm experiencing myself. As I said, it's raw and unfiltered, and that is why it clicks.
Sir, I read your first novel when I was in 9th standard.
Now you make me feel old, yeah. Thank you.
Sir, then after that I followed you on Facebook, and maybe I had a conversation with you during May when you wrote a post about board exams.
Yeah.
Sir, I remember that. I have numerous screenshots of so many things that you shared.
Thank you, thanks
Big
so
fan
much.
of yours, sir. I would like to get my copy signed by you.
Definitely, after this we'll do that for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My question is, as I am also writing a novel, so how do you do detailing part? Like if you are writing a fictional novel, I am also writing a fictional novel. I face difficulty when I when I have to mention the detailing. Suppose I am mentioning the crime thriller part, so I have to show the details of the places where I haven't visited in my life. So how do you do that?
I think you will be the best person to take this.
Sit in front of the mirror once. And, I'm just answering that question where you were asking about the detailing part. About anything that is going on in your mind. Just read your own face and speak out and record that. That gives you the idea of detailing. That's how detailing comes. And when you talk of places, how do you, elaborate those? My entire DNA, half of it is covered in Thailand. In Bangkok, I've never visited. So you have Google, yeah, come on. You have sources for that. So first thing is you have to have a very strong imagination to elaborate a scene, a situation, and it works with the flow. Once you start writing, it comes naturally. If you'll, keep thinking and cribbing, oh God, I have a plot, but it's just one page, how do I make it to 250? Till you don't start writing, it won't happen. You have to pick up your pen, you have to leave everything and concentrate on it, and it will happen. And target yourself at least 500 to 1000 words a day. That's what I do. My 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. is dedicated to my writing every day, and nobody at home disturbs me because I know my daughter is off to sleep after that.
So you write 5,000 words in 2 hours?
500. Did I
500.
say 5,000?
Okay, I thought
500 to 1,000.
I thought 5,000, man.
Because my all books are around 75,000. That's the word count, the average. Yeah, all three. So my first book was written in 6 months because I was working also. DNA was written in 8 months because I was working. But Riots of Love, when I started writing, I left my job and I finished it in 3 months. So, yeah.
Also, I think, a good writer is always a very good reader. That's one aspect that a lot of people ignore. Detailing would come from the fact you've read so many books. See, standing here, there are 10,000 ways in which you can describe the situation. You're talking to 3 authors. You could say the same thing in 1 line and you could say the same thing in 10 lines. The whole idea is to read, is to imagine and keep your mind open and to feel things. As she said, just close your eyes and just feel and bring it out. It's as simple as that.
Another question is also there. How, when you write a piece of novel, when you're writing, you have made some content, you wrote for some chapters you have written. So, how will you select the people to suggest you how your work is going on? Whom do you select?
As in, who do we take feedback from?
Yeah.
I take it from my ex-girlfriends, yeah. They're the most honest people. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I think you should, everyone has that set of people, and I'll be honest, this is the first, I mean, personally, I do not look back on my first draft, and I don't give it to anyone. Because if you start analyzing your piece of work in the very beginning, you'll never end up finishing it. So my personal suggestion is write your first draft as it is, without going back onto it and figuring out what's wrong with it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have time just for one last question.
And it has to be an adventurous novel. And so you could suggest me some points.
You want me to suggest? I love you, baby. I love girls because I have a daughter. I just love girls of your age. Anyway, you want an adventurous concept?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give you an idea. Okay. This was, actually, my brother, he once wrote a book, a novel when he was doing his engineering. And I had given the title of the book. It never actually came out. It was published, just 100 copies, and it always remained with us. And then, because he was doing his IIT and then his engineering, so everything went off. So I'm just giving you an idea. So it was like the end of creator. The title was The End of Creator. So that was a complete fantasy, science, sci-fi. And it is about God who created the world, and now he's planning to destroy everything. And there's a man who dies and who goes to the heaven, who comes to know that this is going to happen. So he collects everybody, all the angels of the world, of the universe, and they plan together to end that creator who once created the universe. So that was one adventurous concept. But I don't know, at your age you can have that imagination. But I can give you an easier option also.
I think you should.
Yeah, okay. So, adventurous. Do you ever, you go for holidaying?
Yes.
Where did you go for a holiday last time?
And Dalhousie.
And what activities did you do?
The first day was spent in finding a hotel room only.
That too.
You know,
There's a hotel.
you take any of your one of your trips and convert it into a book. See, that's what, have you read Ruskin Bond?
Yes.
That's exactly he does. I mean, that's the kind of, some of his subjects, you'll actually relate to that, must have been picked from real lives also. So, have you ever written anything?
Not yet, but in one of my comprehensions an essay I wrote, so I won the first prize. And my mother said that
Wow.
she saw a little author in me.
That's great. That's great. Then you should actually start writing a book on, you and your mother as the main leads. Imagine you and your mother as the main characters of the book, and you are on an adventurous trip to Dalhousie. So just think of a situation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. With this, we come to the end of this rather scintillating session on Love is in the Air. And I would like to thank the wonderful audience for taking so much of interest in our session. And I would like to thank our three authors, Anuj, Shikha, and Sumrit, for making this session so entertaining and so vibrant. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby Gupta. I would now like to call upon Mr. Amit Gambhir from Times of India to present a memento to our guests. Mr. Anuj Tiwari.
Mr. SUMRIT SHAHI, Mrs. SHIKHA KAUL, and our moderator, Dr. Ruby Gupta.